Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F1 Season 13, round number 19, which takes us to the Mexican Grand Prix here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box, it's a Tuesday, so it could only be the one and only Tej. Tej, how are you tonight?
I'm very good, Kieran. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm looking forward to tonight's race in Mexico. If there's anything to go by from last week's race in Japan that we both commentated on, we're going to be in for an absolute classic.
Absolutely, and if you missed the last round or last time out, make sure you go back and check it. It was at the USA Grand Prix, and both titles were decided. Spoiler alert, it was Jack who won the driver's title, and Mercedes won the constructor's title. So big congratulations to them both. Now we look and see who's going to grab that coveted second place, because it's not over yet. When we look at these standings here, and I'm pretty sure, Tej, you watched the last race. Yeah, I got that right.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Yeah, talk us through it.
No, it's very good. I think Ollie in the Red Bull, and obviously Spike in the Red Bull, Seed in the Red Bull, obviously going to be going fast and furiously for it. Obviously got Spike in the second. Mercedes looking to get a strong finish this season now. His teammate has wrapped up the drivers and the constructors, so it'll be vital for himself to try and push in front of the Red Bull pairing.
Absolutely, but he's got a mountain to climb. Ollie, who's on 238, Spike on 185. It's still possible, but it's bordering on improbable, especially if the results go Ollie's way today. Speaking of which, the gap between them, I believe, is 53 points. So all Ollie has to do is make sure that points gap doesn't go below 50 points. If it's 49 or below, championship or the second place in the championship goes then to the Brazilian Grand Prix. If it is 50, then Ollie has wrapped up second place on grounds of countback, because of course Ollie has 3 wins this season. So it's good for Ollie. Is he here tonight? That's the question. He is not. So at the moment then, this is Spike's opportunity then to try and close up on Ollie even more. Although, that being said, though, Ollie's wheel did play up on him. That's the reason he had to retire last time out. So if that's a huge concern for him, he reported a force feedback issue. So if that's the problem, Tej, that could be him out for the rest of the season.
Potentially could be out for the rest of the season, so he's looking for his teammates and drivers further afield to finish ahead of Spike, and I'm pretty sure Spike will be relying on Jack to allow him the comfort of letting him through, because he's wrapped up the title. So I imagine there's still a lot to fight for the driver. You obviously got Recon as well, who won last time we commentated, Kieran, in the Williams. So he's going to be looking for another strong result, especially to finish off the season in such strong order, to prove that he is going to be a force potentially in TTG next season.
Absolutely. And when it comes down to it, we've seen today that well, Jack is in the the driver's chat here. He's saying, "Please, can you hold on a couple of minutes? I need to buy PS Plus or PS." So a new membership on the way for Jack, but he'll be with us shortly. And yeah, hopefully then he'll be able to help out Seeds with, or help out Spike. Sorry, just trying to minimise however many points the Red Bulls can get. Although the title's wrapped up, you really want to dominate when you're on top.
Oh, absolutely. Once your tips are down, you want to make the most of it. You know, you get purple patches in this game, like you do in other sports as well. It's a case of when you're in good form, you're confident, you feel good, and you're going for it. When your form tends to dip, that's when you're not in such good form, and you start scratching around for points, going for moves where you possibly shouldn't. So it's vital for the drivers to have a good, strong finish to the season. And not only for the season, Kieran, you obviously got a new game just around the corner. I don't know how many of them have got the beta testing as well, so that'll be good to get your nose in front, especially looking ahead to next season.
Absolutely. Spike in the chat there saying, "Wait, what? I haven't seen it yet, Kieran. You just ruined it for me." Well, Spike, I'm afraid to say it. Yeah, I've ruined it. I've ruined Endgame. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's all done now. Spike says he feels like Barrichello. Well,
He drives like him.
Well, I'm no comment. Tej said that, not me. Recon in the chat there saying hello, Recon. Driving in the Williams. We've also got Mays confirming that Ollie's wheel is broken, so he's out for these next 2 races. So this is a chance for Yeah, so this is a chance for Spike to really close up that gap. 53 points, remember. So if Spike doesn't finish this race, or he finishes ninth or lower, then Ollie has secured second place without even touching his wheel tonight. So that's what Spike is hoping for. He's been at the top of the field whenever he's racing, you know, battling away for those podiums.
Yeah.
So chances are then is that he will close this gap tonight.
Absolutely. If he keeps out the wall, you know, it's a very tricky circuit Mexico. It's going to be dependent on the weather as well, especially around the S section. It's very easy to lose it on the curbs and find yourself ploughing into the wall, as we saw just last week with the championship winner Jack when he lost it at going to Spoon in the Suzuka. So mistakes can be made. It's a very unforgiving track, so yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to this race. It should be a good race. I'm hoping that a few more drivers turn up. At the moment, we've only got 12 out of 20. I'm hoping that with the season now being confirmed to be over, drivers still do turn up for the last few races. But side note, Kieran, it's refreshing to see Alan Kay in the proper car this week.
Yeah, he had that one-off stint with the McLaren, didn't he? Jumped in the wrong car, but he's back in the Renault today. Yeah, he'll be hoping to continue his good result. By the way, that 7th place last time out at USA was a really good result for Alan, so he'll be hoping to build on it. Transitioning now to the Mexican Grand Prix, we do have the practice results. Siege topped the table then with a 1 minute 15 exactly 0:00. Then it was Sean in second, 1:15.2. Nexus Pursuit 1:15.5. Maze in fourth, 1:15.6. Alan Kay 1:15.6 as well. Only about 300 slower than his teammates, so close between the Renaults there. And Crazy Legs in sixth with a 1:18.3. But we don't know the compounds for that one, so not quite sure. You know what the pace is like. If it turns out to be that they're all on the ultra softs, well, fantastic. But obviously not entirely sure on that one. But what we do know is make sure if you are racing in TTL F1 that the practice session is open at 7 o'clock, 45-minute practice session. It is open to all the drivers, and hope to see a couple of more of you in there, maybe next season. But as you say, expecting a few more drivers to turn up. Because obviously the teams choose their drivers next season as well. This was the first season where the teams got to choose their drivers. The second season, the teams get more of an idea of who they want. Ferrari, who've had a nightmare, will be hoping to pick 2 drivers that are going to be fighting at the top once again. So it's really important in these last couple of races to just keep it professional and keep pushing for those coveted points.
Absolutely, and as a spokesman for Ferrari, I can confirm that we do want Jack and Ollie. So setting the stall out early, you know, is Kieran.
I mean, you know what? You get the commentary bias straight in there. You're not you're not guilty about it whatsoever.
Pre-contract, yeah, that's it.
There you go. You said these conditions were gonna be tricky, especially if it rained. And what have you got, Tej? You got some rain. Thanks for jinxing it.
We have some moisture. There's the covers are still on the wicket, so players going to be delayed. The umpires have decided there'll be no cricket this morning. No, just joking. Yeah, it's going to be a wet qualifying, unfortunately. It's going to be testing the drivers. It really is the weather of elements where the driver's strategy is really put to the test in conditions like this.
Yeah, it looks like drivers are going to be choosing the intermediate tyres, although I am seeing just on that, I believe it's a Williams there, I think, or a Force India. Either way, the garage straight in front of us. It looks like soft tyres on that car. So, I mean, it's going to be a tricky one for sure, but let's see what happens when they come out of the pit lane. There is a Mercedes coming out of the pit lane. That could only be one person, Tej. Surely it's got to be Squeezy making his way down towards the pit lane, and it is. And yeah, there goes a Sauber there on dry tyres. So you got a couple of drivers going out there on these dry tyres. And let's see if that was Jack out there, and it was. As he makes his way out to the track on hyper soft tyres. So the teams are obviously thinking, you know, get out there, get a lap down. The track's not entirely wet yet, so we could be seeing one lap, and that's about it.
No, yeah, and you're rightly so. Go out early, get a lap in. You know, the session, we're not privy to what the weather's actually doing up here, Kieran. We know that there's a bit of wet at the moment. It could be drying, it could be getting worse, but either way, if the tyres are there to be used on the surface, well, it is in this condition, it's best to get a bank on the board and set a good lap time. And Jack obviously taking the initiative, taking the bulls by the horns, as he has so much this season, being the lead driver out of the pits. saying this is my championship, I'm the champion, and if anyone's going to go out first, it's going to be me.
Absolutely. Weatherman Mays in the chat there saying it's going to be dry towards the end of qualifying, but of course that doesn't mean it's going to be dry out on track. It just means that the weather's going to ease off and it should be clearing up by the end of qualifying. Whether the track does the same is completely another question. You can see there Jack struggling with the understeer here as we make our way through the stadium section, going through the baseball field if you like, and you can see now Jack making his way around the final corner now, and let's see what he can do then on this flying lap of the circuit Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, which will make our way towards the start finish line now. It's a long straight, DRS wide open here as it's still available to the drivers in this qualifying session as we head away all the way down towards turn 1 here, picking up speeds of 200 miles per hour, maybe even more than that as we head to the braking zone of turn 1. Very tricky conditions, and these curves can really put a rubber stamp into your lap time if you get them wrong. You can see the amount of oversteer then out of turn 3, heading now down towards turn 4. Heavy braking zone once again, good overtaking opportunity as we make our way now towards turn 4. Watch those sleeping policemen on the inside of these curves here, now heading through turn 5, and now we're heading to this double right-hander that counts as one corner, turn number 6, as we now get the apex here. Keep that car in check then, especially in these tricky conditions, heading our way towards the S section now, heading through turn 7, then it's the right-hander of turn 8, through then the left-hander of turn 9, coming on the right-hander of turn 10, through the left-hander of 11, and then watching that curve there as we head now all the way towards turn 12, the right-hander here, almost 90 degrees here. Watch out here, the track cambers away from you on the exit as we head now towards turn 13. This is sharp left-hander, almost like a hairpin as we head through 14, then through the slight kink of 15, now towards turn 16, through the right-hander there, and then through turn 17. Watch that traction on the exit, but Jack then ruins all the fun and comes back into the pits then after his flying lap.
No, absolutely. He's giving it full beans there, Kieran, on the way round to his hot lap up. Obviously, he must have invalidated somewhere, but he's weaving as well, so he's just showing that the track is still very wet as the rain does still fall. Obviously, if the track is getting drier later in the session, there's going to be 11 cars in the process trying to get the track as dry and as rubbing in as possible, as we see TTG Siege set a lap time of 22.7, and Recon backing up his form from last week with a 20.9 on the Hypersoft tyres.
Yeah, especially in these tricky conditions, that might be a lap time that might stand the test of time, pardon the pun, as now Recon makes his way towards turn 1, as we've got drivers out there. You've got Alan Kay setting a 140.1, obviously that's the
Spa.
Well, yeah, maybe. Sean did 123.2 on a set of super soft tyres. Of course, 3 tyres available for today. Hypersofts, Ultra Softs and Super Softs, they are available throughout the race today, as Haas makes his way now down towards the first 3 turns. And what a man in form, Sean. 2 podiums this season. It really has been a breakout season for Sean. And which teams do you think might have just got the attention of Sean here?
Me personally, I think Sean, over the last few races I've been commentating on, is not exactly been a standout driver, but he's been somebody who's been there and been consistent. And he's obviously in the Haas at the moment, which is a lower to midfield team. So I probably see Sean possibly moving like a Force India or Red Bull potentially, because he definitely has the talent, definitely has the quality, and he showed that being consistent, given the right backing, the right team, potentially the right teammate, he can flourish and go on further and further.
Well, he has shown today, and well, not just yet shown today, but he has shown in the previous 18 races that he can be a very consistent point scorer, and that is backed up by his standings in the championship. I believe he's 5th place in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, but I will have to confirm that as he makes his way around turn 17 as he now make our way towards the start finish line. Sean then, can he better his lap time? He can by 0.8 of a second. He's now at a 122.3.
I think Singapore was the race I really do recall him having really good form, because Singapore is the track where if you have been spoken about, you haven't been spoken about for being at the back or spoken about for being at the front. But Sean really mentioned in the commentary, and it was more of a testament to himself, because he actually had a good solid form in that race, coming from behind his teammate, finishing in the top 6 as well. We have a yellow flag in sector 2, Kieran.
Yeah, that's just Alan Kay getting out of the way of Sean there as we headed down towards turn 4. And just to correct myself, he's actually 4th place in the championship, is Sean. So he's had a really good season so far, and I think quite a few of the top teams might just be monitoring very closely as we head towards season 14.
Absolutely. And what a fine drive they'll be picking up, as we just see S. Graham, somebody we've not really spoke about as much in his last few races. Kieran is just set at 1:23.9 on the Hypersoft, getting himself onto the second row of the grid. The lofty heights, he'll be starved of oxygen if he starts up there. Just go through the grid now. Alan Kate, another lap on the Super Soft, is backing off. Looks like he could be going for a fast lap at the moment. His ERS level is full. Let's see if he pulls right into the pit lane, or is he going to go for it? No, he decides to pit. Alan Kate, May's guinea pig. Let's May know what the track's doing. He never likes doing a qualifying lap, does he, mate? That's what I've noticed, Keelan. It's like touched on last weekend. It's like he pays for his own tyres. He doesn't want to use them.
Well, that could be the case, but whatever the strategy is, he does keep scoring those points. And there is Jack then, maybe just trying to warm up those tyres, and these damp conditions are going to be very difficult to do with the moisture and the sort of dampness on the track, always cooling those tyres, especially in the wrong places. And there's Jack then, who now makes his way on towards a new flying lap, and now down towards turn 1. And once again, the Mercedes driver has been pretty dominant this season. And he's hoping to add to his 10 wins this season. That's right, you heard me, 10. So it's been a hugely successful season for Jack. Oh, he runs a little bit wide there through turn 3, and already he knows that that's probably that lap abandoned.
Yeah, he could probably still stay out and do another lap though. He is on the ultra soft tyres. Do have a little bit more longevity than the hyper soft, but he's giving it full effort, full commitment through the first few corners. And you'd think in these conditions, maybe he'd be a little bit more circumspect, if you will, maybe lift a bit more. But he's definitely pushing the car, trying to get the maximum he can, performance-wise, in the first few corners. And he's got nothing to risk now, especially now the championship's under wraps. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do for the remainder of the session, if he is going to be able to set a lap. And we also see TTG Spike at the moment, Kieran, in the pits on the intermediates, which is quite an interesting tactic if he does choose to come out.
Oh, and that is Jack then, who's lost the back end. That's just before 15 there, and yep, that's an end plate gone. So that is him pushing the car. As you say, he's got nothing to lose at the moment. No championship on the line, so he might as well go for it. But he will be coming back to the pits then. And 10th place at the moment. Both Mercedes drivers haven't set a time just yet, but something's telling me that Spike is maybe waiting for these conditions to ease off. Siege then making his way towards the line and onto a new flying lap. He's on a set of ultra soft tyres now as he makes his way all the way down towards turn 1. Very, very long straight all the way down here as we make our way towards that right hander. There is Alan Kay just getting out of the way of Siege then as we head now through turn 2, then through turn 3. You can see there the rain has eased off completely as Siege loses that back end slightly, now into the DRS zone, and now coming down towards turn 4. You can see now the track is just starting to dry up, and with the heat around Mexico, that water on the track is going to evaporate pretty quickly, especially with all the cars going around as well. And you might start to find that this track evolves very, very quickly in these last 8 minutes. Siege now heading towards turn 7, and now heading through turn 8. You can see already how much more grip there is out there as we now head through the right hander of turn 8 and 9, heading now down towards turn 12 now. And this right hander coming up, very easy to overcommit to turn 12, in towards turn 13 now. That hairpin of a left-hander, now heading through 14, slight kink of 15 as we make our way now towards 16, and then through this right-hander here, turn 17, Siege trying to keep it all under control. And what's the lap time going to be? It's a 1:16.8, and that just shows you how much this track has evolved. And well, I wouldn't say now's the perfect time to set a dry lap time, but if you want to try and set some laps, now's the time to do it. And I think Spike would have seen that time and thought, you know what, time is right now.
Absolutely, Kieran. Thumbs up in the Red Bull pit wall there as Christian Horner gives him a new tap on the back and said, that's what we're looking for. As Siege puts his car convincingly on pole position on the ultra soft tyres. So Recon, who I believe is out on that lap as well at the moment, Kieran, if you want to just pick up and board with him as he comes through sector 2, weaving left and right. There he goes off track.
Yeah, if you go off track there, normally the lap doesn't invalidate, so we'll keep on riding on board with him then. He's on the hyper-soft tyres as he makes his way through turn 13, and now coming towards 14, striking to 15, coming around 16 now, and then through that final right-hander of turn 17, so much more grip here, and Recon heads towards the line, 1:14.7. This track is getting quicker and quicker, and it's going to be a case of whoever makes it out there last might have a good chance of pole position.
Absolutely, Kieran. There's a big chance here from anybody from Alan K down to really get a surprise for this round and get a good lap in. It depends who's going to be bravest to go out as late as possible. You know, it's like a minute 30, minute 40 to go. You can still get a good lap in once the track has got to its most ultimate performance-wise with regards to the amount of rubber and the way it's dried out. So, good solid lap from Recon, 1:14.7. Definitely set the bar for the rest to try and beat at the moment. He has gone for the hyper soft, so potentially looking for a two-stop during the race. He won't want to be taking too much performance out of the tyres as he's on his way to the pits. Just have a look down. Sean is on an out lap as well.
Pursuit coming around the final corner then as he makes his way towards the line. Ultra soft tyres on the car, and it's a 1:15.0. Puts himself ahead of Siege for now and up to second place. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes still yet to set a time.
If you're someone like Mays as well, you'd be considering this now. You're sitting in the pits. You're not doing a lap as of yet. You'd be looking to try and possibly get a lap on the ultra soft, lap on the super soft, trying to see what you can do. Because it looks like Uzi's going to be the driver starting in 11 with him crashing out for the session earlier on, so you might as well get a lap on the board. And Spike surprisingly still sat in the pits on the intermediate tyres. We've got the yellow flag in sector 1. I wonder if that's just a car being allowed through. No, it's Nexus Pursuit losing it into the hairpin before sector 2.
Yeah, and Pursuit, who has it's been a hot and cold season for him. When he's hot in form, he's getting those performances in, but when it's cold, like it has been a couple of races this season, he's well, the performances have got to him. But generally, I think he's a good driver who's just been out of form at the moment, been out of luck as well, and he'll be hoping that Mexico is the turning point, especially with teams watching him.
No, absolutely. As we're seeing now, Jack has gone back out. He's on the super softs this time, so obviously burnt out his allocation of tyres so far, Kieran. So this is an interesting choice. Obviously, it'll mean he'll go longer in the race. So let's see how this tactic works out for him.
Coming through this S section here, as we now make our way through turn 10 and through 11, as we now make our way all the way towards turn 12, and it looks like he wants that pole position, but on those super soft tyres, I wonder. He's definitely gone for that mid-range. In fact, it might have gone harder because I don't know if you get an allocation of super soft tyres unless you pick the harder compound. Someone might have to correct me on that one. But anyway, here comes Jack then.
Possibly, yeah.
On his flying lap, DRS wide open, mode 4 on his ERS as he makes his way all the way down towards turn 1. Very, very long straight, perfect for any overtaking opportunities with that DRS, especially braking hard for turn 1 now. Turning in the car, you can see there, struggling to maybe find that grip into turn 1, but that's probably because of the super soft tyres. In the end though, he's got the speed he wants, and that's coming now down towards turn 4. Mays retiring from the session, not setting a lap this time around, and he'll be able to have a free choice of tyre because he did not leave the pit lane. Jack then making his way now towards turn 6, this hairpin here, fast hairpin, and he's run a little bit wide there, Jack. And well, he's going to carry on with the lap, now coming towards turn 7, then through turn 8. And really, he's got to keep going with this lap because I don't think he's got enough time to come back to the pits and put on a new set of tyres. So this is it now. Runs very wide there at turn 11, all the way now towards turn 12. I wonder if this lap's still going to be valid. Here we go then, chucking the car into turn 12. Careful not to overcommit then, which he was there, in through turn 13. Now coming around 14, all the way now in towards 16, and then through that right-hander of turn 17 now, using the gears to try and turn in the car, and it's a 1:15.3 from Jack there.
Alan K, nice job.
Yes, absolutely. So Alan K then 1:15.2, Jack 1:15.3, but he's got to stay out there on those super softs there. Spike, has he made it out? Yes, he's on his outlap right now as he makes his way towards turn 1. So he's going to leave it as late as he possibly dare. That green lid there, really striking, really easy to spot Spike out on track. And now he's out there on the ultra soft tyres, wanting to make that mid-range tyre work. Let's see if he can do it.
Absolutely, he's definitely going to be there or thereabouts. I have to imagine that, because he's stayed in long enough. He's obviously thought about when was the perfect time to go. There's 1 minute left on the clock. He's definitely going to cross the line just in time. So he's going to get one shot at it. He's picked the mid-range tyre, the ultra soft. So he's looking definitely like he's potentially going to try and push for the one stop, depending on how much performance he can take out of these tyres. His teammate Jack, which is surprising to myself and probably to yourself, Kieran, starts in 6th at the moment, so it's going to have to be a champion's drive through the grid for him. But let's go ahead and board now with Spike. Kieran, you want to call us through?
As Jack then sets pole position, 1:14.1. Here comes Spike then around the final corner, and he is going to make it with 22 seconds to spare then, as Siege now tops it, 1:13.8 on the hyper soft tyres. And that is a good lap time from him then. But Jack, 1:14.1. I wonder if that time is going to come tumbling down with the track ever improving and drivers out there on faster tyres. Spike now coming through turn 2, then through turn 3 as Alan retires from the session. As Grazer Legs in 6th place there. We saw him set that better lap time on the ultra soft tyres. Here comes Spike then down towards turn 4, using that curve on the right hand side to make the track as wide as possible on entry. In through turn 5 and then heading towards turn number 6. Nice and easy with the car then. But Spike, this is his only chance to try and get up towards the field. He knows today and Thursday needs to be the drives of his life. He knows there's the gap there. He could potentially get that down to 3 points as we head to Abu Dhabi, but that means 2 wins back to back on the trot. And a win is something he hasn't managed all season long. Maybe he might get the help from Jack, you never know, as we head towards turn 13 now. Bit of a lock up on the front left there. Through turn 14, through the slight kink of 15 now, and heading now around the final couple of corners with the checkered flag out. Here comes Spike then through turn 17. What's the lap time he can do? It's a 1:13.9. Out qualifies his teammate, but not quite quick enough to try and knock Siege off the top spot. But I tell you what, that's not bad. Recon then, 1:13.1. And the Williams on pole position now on the hyper soft tyres, as Jack making his way back towards the pit lane pursuit then, as qualified in 6th place, but backed off on his hypersoft run, so he wants to start on the ultra softs. Here comes Sean then around the final corner, the only person now left to take the checkered flag, but decides not to and heads back to the pit lane. So all the laps are completed then. That wraps up qualifying, and it's going to be Recon win the Williams, who starts on pole position on those hypersoft tyres, with Siege in 2nd there, also on the same tyre, and Spike first man on the 2nd row, starting on the ultra soft tyres. Interesting qualifying session as we head towards the Mexican Grand Prix.
Oh, fantastic qualifying session, Kim. We obviously paid dividends to be patient for the start of qualifying. It took the last few minutes for it to really kick off. What a mix of tyres we have as well. I'll just let you run down the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Recon then pole position 1:13.1 with Siege in 2nd, 1:13.8. Spike in 3rd on the ultra softs, 1:13.9. Jack with a great lap time on the super softs, 1:14.1 there, puts himself in 4th place. Crazy having a good qualifying session, 1:14.6. Pursuit then in 6th. With Sean in 7th, Alan Kay 8th, and Graham in 9th, with Maze and Yuzi not setting lap times during that qualifying session. It means then that the top 9 choose the tyres they want, but because Maze never left the pit lane, he's got a free choice of tyre as we head towards the race.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. What a fantastic race we have set up for us now, Kieran. You obviously got the pole position and the man 2nd on the grid on the ultra soft tyres, so we know just how good the slipstream is down at turn 1, so it'll be interesting to see if they still have that advantage with the tyres exiting turn 1.
Well, the Mexican Grand Prix then. First Grand Prix back in 1963 with a circuit length of 4.304 kilometres, lap record 1:18.741 set by Valtteri Bottas in the 2018 race. Race distance, we're looking at around about 157 kilometres to 156.6 kilometres if you want to be exact, and we're looking at 36 laps here at the legendary circuit. And well, Formula 1 cars arrived here first of all in 1962 as a non-championship race, and well, for the first year, in 1963. That was the first bona fide Mexican Grand Prix. That was won by Jim Clark, and well, it's back on the calendar here. It came back in 2015, and the altitude here is what makes this a very, very demanding circuit, as not quite replicated fully, but I'll tell you what, this long straight here down towards turn 1 really gives the drivers an opportunity to use that DRS down towards the heavy braking zone of turn number 1. The only problem is, if you're on the inside in towards turn 1, you're on the outside for turn 2. If you can stick there long enough, you can then try the inside of turn number 3, but you risk losing that advantage then, as you're on the inside away from the racing line as you put the power down. Another good overtaking opportunity with the DRS as well, heading down towards turn 4. Again, if you're on the inside for 4, you're then going to be on the outside for turn 5, and not only that, for turn 6 as well. So you've really got to commit if you're going to try and make that move. Here we go then towards turn 6. The nature of this corner makes it very difficult to actually find an overtaking move. Through turn 6 is always a good overtaking opportunity as well, as then we head through the S section, pretty much single file through turn 7, through 8, 9, 10 and 11. But one slip of a mistake, one running wide, and it sets you up. You're vulnerable as you head down towards turn 12. And not a typical overtaking opportunity, turn 12, but if a driver side by side, don't hesitate to think they're going to go for it. Then towards turn 13, expect a few drivers to try and stick their nose into this corner. It puts you on the outside for turn 14, and you'll run the real risk of being run wide at turn 15 and 16. But if you want to try and make that move work, you've got to do it there as well. Very limited overtaking opportunities, even with the DRS. And as we head out now towards the start-finish line, Recon is on pole position, Siege in second, Spike third, Jack in fourth, Crazy Legs fifth, Pursuit in 6th, Sean 7th, Alan K 8th, Graham in 9th, Mays in 10th, and Yuzi is in 11th place. WeakWiFiSolutions.com sponsor the driver of the day, and they're also sponsoring today's race here in Mexico. And it's also sponsored as well by A-Logo, who sponsor the fastest lap of the day and provide all the graphics for TTL F1. We're now moments away from the Mexican Grand Prix, live here on TTTV. And as we wait now for the drivers, all of them, to come back to the grid, we're waiting now on the starting grid for those 5 red lights to count up. Here they come. We're almost ready here in Mexico.
Breathe.
Round 19 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like it's a good start then from the Williams and the Red Bull as we make our way now down towards turn 1. You can see there Spike got a good start as well. He's in the slipstream of the Red Bull, looking to make it 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide. Here as we head now down towards turn 1. Watch out for that Red Bull on the inside. The Force India as well. Pursuit trying to make it 4 wide there as we head towards turn 1. Having a look now through the grid there, you can see Recon leads, Spike up to 2nd place, Siege is in 3rd with Jack in 4th. Pursuit though, and Jack, as that is Pursuit running slightly wide onto the grass then, as he's looking to battle Jack here down towards turn 4. You can see Spike here, looks like he's just taken the race lead away from Recon, round the outside of turn 4, up the inside of turn 5, then up the inside of turn 6. Great move from the Mercedes driver. He knows that he's got to try and make those moves work if he wants to gather 2nd place in the championship. Siege wants to try and take advantage of Recon then, but can't quite do it. Recon runs a little bit wide there through turn 7, might be a little bit vulnerable from Siege then. He'll know to try and keep the lines clean as we head now down towards turn 12. Will he have an opportunity to try and make that move stick? No, he seems a little bit too far back then, as we see then the biggest winners and losers. You can see they're usually up 4 places there in the Toro Rosso. Fantastic start from him. Crazy though is down 4 places. He's down into 9th place at the moment, with both Renaults now down towards 10th and 11th place. Meanwhile then, as the first lap is completed then, Spike leads the way. It's Recon in 2nd, Siege in 3rd, Jack in 4th, Sean 5th, Pursuit in 6th, Yuzi 7th, Graham 8th, Crazy in 9th, Alan K 10th, Mays in 11th, as we ride on board with Recon then as we head down towards turn 1. Thought he was going to have a look up the inside and backed out of it. Jack then makes the move on Siege, then up the inside he goes in towards turn 1. And I've got to give this mic to you, Tej, at some point. It's been a great start.
Yeah, I forgot I was still here. What an absolutely fantastic start it was, and what a move it was from Spike in lap 1. It was absolutely paramount. It's absolutely paramount for Recon to go back through as he shoves it up the inside. Spike says, no, you're not coming through there, and he nudges him back out the way. Recon is furious, and he's definitely trying to get through as fast as he can. He is on the softer compound. He's paramount for his race that he does get out ahead of Spike, because Spike can go longer in this race, as we have also seen the tyres which are on the harder compound, such as Jack. He's also in 3rd place. He's made up ground on Siege, the fast starting Siege. So the race is really set up to be a fantastic race so far, with Spike in 1st, Recon 2nd, Jack 3rd, and Siege in the sister Red Bull in 4th, with Sean making another strong start as well on the ultra soft tyres. And they all bunch up coming through the baseball section. Recon almost pushing Spike through the last corner there. And now we're going to get the DRS train over the start-finish straight down into turn 1.
Well, DRS will be activated this lap, but it won't be available until turn number 4, where there is an active detection point. Well, there isn't actually. So next lap, the DRS will be in full effect then. Only one detection point around the circuit, and it is just before that slight kink of turn 15. So Recon has to work his patience here and try and build this move on. He's got Jack right behind him as well. Remember, Jack is on the super soft tyre, so we're not expecting him in until at least lap 22 in this race. So it's a long way for Jack to go. And in terms of Spike, then we're looking at maybe around about lap 15 to come in, maybe a little bit earlier than that. With the Hypersofts though, you'll be lucky to make it into double figures, looking at around about lap 8 or 9 before you have to pit in. So Recon's got to make the most out of these tyres whilst he still can.
Absolutely, Kieran. Particularly sooner, especially if he's going to be stuck behind Spike. It's just the case of now is that it's the predator becomes the prey, because he knows he needs to get a move on. He needs to get past Spike as fast as he can to try and save his race. He's currently in a Mercedes sandwich at the moment. Spike will be on the radio with Jack saying, what should I do? How can I get rid of him? Should I back him in here, or we're just going to race and have a little bit of fun with Recon now, because it's definitely looking like Mercedes do have the stronger hand. And Recon, once again, backing up his performance from last week, Kieran, racing absolutely fantastically. It definitely, as we touched on earlier in the conversation, definitely has to be a name to be considered for one of the top drives as he goes down the inside of Spike. Spike tries to close the door. Recon keeps his elbows in. He's nudged him out wide there, and he's going to hit the DRS again down to turn 5. Recon now in the tow. It's also has Jack behind him with the DRS wide open. So Recon, it's time to show your hands and have a go at Spike, because Jack is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see how much that DRS is actually helping that Williams then. And misleading here, you want to run low downforce because you want to take advantage of the straights, but then you get caught out here through this high downforce section. You can get away with low downforce, but run it too low, just maybe a couple of degrees too low on that front wing, and you're looking at massive understeer through the S section, especially on the harder tyres and even warm tyres as well. So you've got to be careful, as that was Recon there getting a little bit of opposite lock as he braked for turn 12. Then again he gets it for turn 13. So he's really pushing hard here, and his brakes here are working overtime to try and keep that car in check. But now here we go once again with Recon in the slipstream and with the DRS. You can see there Spike got a really good exit out of turn 16 and 17. He's trying to break the slipstream to Recon as best he can. He's done all he can then as we head towards turn 1. Will Recon try and move up the inside? He thinks about it but backs out of it and realises maybe it's not the greatest idea in the world to have a move that far back. But look at him through turn 3. They actually touched then going through turn 3, and I wonder if Recon's got a little bit of damage there. He now runs side by side now with Spike as we head down towards turn 4, but he's on the outside. That will become the inside for turn 5 here. If Spike can squeeze him out, they touch again, and that is allowing Jack here to try and have a move up towards turn 6. Recon again up the inside, very close that time, but no contact this time. Oh, that's the Williams around in the wall, and well, I don't know what happened there. It looked like the two of them came together actually, but I'm going to hold my tongue on that one. Let the steward sort that one out. But yeah, that's Recon now down to 7th place.
Yeah, it looked like Recon was on the racing line, and looked like as if Spike was trying to get himself some room to have a run into the corner, and unfortunately they look like they've just touched side pods there. It's unfortunate because it was looking like it was going to be a fascinating battle, especially this early in the race, to carry on the race with. So unfortunately it's allowed Jack on the super softs through. How's your look, Mr. Champion? Very good, thank you very much. As Recon now goes straight through Crazy Legs up into 7th place. He's going to pit. He doesn't appear to have any damage. I don't think he actually touched it, but he's now got damage as he spins into the pits. A la David Coulthard, Adelaide 95. Now we'll just have another look through the grid now. You've got the two Renaults moving through very nicely. Position 7th and 8th at the moment as Mays goes around the outside of Crazy Legs. A good solid move there as he pushes Crazy Legs out wide, saying I've got this position. And Alan, it looks ready to try and take Crazy Legs as well. With the DRS wide open, the sister Renault. Is he going to follow through the team leader? Let's look now. No, he's not close enough. Hasn't managed to get close enough to try and have a move there. As we now have a look with the leaders. Jack opened up a 2.6 second gap over Spike. Now of Sean in third place in the Haas, having another fantastic race, running very strongly, and Nexus Pursuit in the Force India. We know what happened to the Force Indias last time we commentated Q and then Suzuki. They both capitulated each other's races. They both went out fairly early when they qualified in strong positions, and Uzi in the Sol Toro Rosso running very well, rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, he didn't have the greatest qualifying in the world, did he? But he's running strong now in 5th place on those ultra soft tyres, looking to try and make the one-stop work as we can now go through the order after 7 laps of racing, or so after 6 laps of racing, I say, on to lap 7. It is Jack in the lead on the super soft tyres. It is Spike in second. Massive kick of oversteer then from that Mercedes. Doesn't like taking that corner at that speed. Sean is in 3rd place right now, but he's under big pressure from Pursuit then as we head now down towards turn 4 in position 4. Pursuit here, will he try and have a look up the inside? No, he thinks better of it. That's Yuzi in 5th with Maze in 6th, Crazy in 7th. Now he's got the DRS. Alan K is in 8th place. There's Siege in 9th. He's just pitted in, as has Recon running in 10th place, and Graham then also pitted in. He's now on a set of ultra soft tyres running in 11th place. Looking at this battle now between Sean and Pursuit there, you can see Sean getting that 3-second time penalty. That'll be added to the end of his race. We'll try and keep you up to date with those penalties as best we can, but Pursuit then looks like he didn't quite get the S section right, and you can see he's lost a bit of time to the car ahead.
Yeah, he's lost a few temps now. He's only 6 temps behind him. Still going to be in DRS range, but it's going to be a little bit tougher now. Coming down the start-finish straight with that gap, it might drop down a few temps, but I'm not too sure. He's obviously got a big gap to using the Toro Rosso, the front 4 at the moment, running away from it. As we see now, Sean trying to break the toe with Uzi, taking the racing line, coming off it and coming back on it again. Sorry, Nexus Pursuit the Force Indian 4. I do apologise. Do you want to have a look? No, he's just not close enough, as we touched on there. It's going to be getting a good run at the left and right section now. DRS wide open again. He's going to have a look now into turn 4. Well, DRS is open. Because it's inside, no, he decides not to. So Sean running very well at the moment in provisional podium place. Nexus Pursuit, he's going to be taking his time. There's no need to rush. He's got a gap to the cars behind him. Just concentrate on the car ahead. Nothing silly, and hopefully at some point during the race he can go for the move.
Meanwhile, behind them, Maze is in 6th place, Grace Legs in 7th. Alan Kay is trying his best to stick behind this 2-time champ of Crazy Legs as he makes his way through turn 7 into 8, 9 and 10. Crazy had a good qualifying session, and he wants to recover that form. Only 1 finish this season since he joined mid-season, so he'll really want to get, more importantly, a finish on the board. He's got 8 points to his name this season, and well, he has been trying to make that transition back onto a racing wheel. He used to race on a controller, now he races on the wheel. That explains that sort of pace deficit that he has, and he has been struggling, but you notice the improvements every day and every race. Meanwhile, Pursuit then with the DRS down towards turn 1 gets the move on Sean. Then we've been waiting for that one for quite some time, and then he'll have the DRS run on Sean. Even though he's ahead with that 1 detection point, it means the Force India then gets the DRS. But we've already seen there Sean can basically match that Force India for pace along the straight here, and you can see Pursuit doesn't really get that far away in heading towards turn 5. And now heading towards turn 6. This Recon is out of the race, and we shall see where that is. And it is somewhere in the pit lane, so Recon obviously getting on to maybe there's damage to the car, maybe the damage can't be repaired. Recon calls it a day then, so he becomes the first retirement here of the Mexican Grand Prix. That is a shame. He had a good chance to win this race. Now he faces the garage and retirement there from the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah, potentially long solo flight home from Mexico, especially in the humid weather. It's not going to be the most pleasant place to be, especially when your race is finished early. It was an unfortunate incident with himself and Spike. It was shaping up to be another great race for Recon. I'm sure the eyes of the big teams in the championship will be on him next season, but let's deal with the now. As you have Nexus, Pursuit and Sean going side by side at the DRS zone. Nexus Pursuit saying, Sean, if you're going to go past me, you're going to go the long way around, as he certainly does. And Pursuit, Nexus just tucks him behind. Sean says, thank you very much, I'll take 3rd place back, thank you. As we've also have a slow moving car ahead of him, I believe it's Recon's car getting out of the way. So you can see now as well, Kieran, it's almost like Sean and Pursuit have been playing truck and trailer. They've been pulling each other along. They've actually caught up to Spike. They're only now eight tenths behind him, so they're dragging the Mercedes into this battle. I wonder if Spike might have a bit of damage from the incident with Recon early on, but it's looking very positive for the Haas team, and Gunter Steiner on the pit wall looking rather confident. He's looking rather pleased, especially with Sean's pace. He's been talking highly of Sean this season and how his performances have been fantastic for the team. As they go into the baseball section now, Pursuit looking for a home run, especially down at turn 1 with the DRS, hoping to try and get the position, but I think Sean will also have the DRS from Spike, so they'll be pulling each other along down here. Let's just see what kind of a run Pursuit is going to get. But Sean, I think Sean's going to try and break the toe once again as he comes off the racing line there. Over to you, Pursuit. If you're going past, you're going to have to go the long way, but Pursuit tries to stay on the dummy, comes back underneath, into turn 1, Pursuit back into 3rd place.
And yeah, parks it on turn 2, the apex there. That's exactly what he needed to do. He might have overdriven turn 1, but he recovered there to try and defend, as we now see Sean on the attack now, coming down towards turn 4. And Pursuit's got the inside line, but that means Sean will have the inside for turn 5, and that means he'll have the inside for turn 6. And even though Pursuit there had the DRS down towards turn 4, Sean is able to keep him behind. Great racing between these two so far, as the battle for 3rd place keeps on going. The gap now between themselves and Spike is 2 seconds. So we've got to be careful here. They may want to try and get this battle sorted out on track here. As you can see, Pursuit running wide at turn 11 and running wide even more then as he head towards turn 12. Trying to go up the inside of Sean, but no dice for him. He realises the door's not going to open for him and stays behind as we head through turn 13, through 14 and 15, as race leader Jack on the super soft tyres comes into the pits then. Maybe he's going to try a 2-stop. Sean coming into the pits, Pursuit making the decision to stay out. So even though Sean ahead of him pitted, that's Pursuit saying, no, not time yet.
It's interesting, Kieran. Obviously, we had Jack on the super softs, the harder compound of the 2 tyres. Looks like he's changing to a 2-stop strategy. He must be struggling for performance, grip and wear on those tyres, as we see Sean now come back out. He's going to slot in behind Alan Kay, who's also stopped, who's also currently on the Hypersoft tyres. But I must say, just quickly touching on the battle between Sean and Nexus Pursuit, absolutely fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the whole sector. I had that on the helicopter cam there myself, and it was fantastic to watch. We might have a reduced grid for tonight's race, but we did not have a reduction in quality. Fantastic racing from the 2 drivers in the Force India and the Haas.
Yeah, just touching on Jack then, because obviously he pitted in from the super soft tyres, now onto the ultra softs. Well, you know what? I think he's gone for a 2-stop now. I think he's going to split this race in half now. 12 laps on ultra soft, then 12 laps again, because at the moment it just seems he just wants to have a little bit of fun out there.
Absolutely, the race leader getting a bit lonely, trying to shake the race up somewhat. He might have had some damage, or just maybe just been lack of performance in the grip on the super soft, but he took the chance, and it's a chance he can afford to take because he is the race leader, and he was by some substantial gap. As the race leader now is TTG Siege, as he's going side by side with Jack, as Jack goes right round the outside of TTG Siege, not Siege. He says, thank you very much, I'll take the race lead back. And hello, look, he's running in 3rd, Kieran, having a very calm race. Like a little Sunday drive for Mason at the moment. He's managed to find his way up into the lofty heights of P3. Here's the Renault driver on course for a podium finish at the moment. Obviously, you've got the Ferrari there, Crazy Legs, giving Ferrari something to cheer about this season, which has been quite a low-key season for the Ferrari. Obviously, qualified 5th for this race, and he's running very strongly in 4th at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, lap 13 then, here at the Mexican Grand Prix. It is Jack who leads then, after most of the stops have been completed. Siege runs in 2nd. Mays is yet to stop. He's running in 3rd place. That is Crazy in 4th, also yet to stop. That is Spike then in 5th. That's Shord in 6th there on the super soft tyres. He's looking to try and make those tyres last to the end of the race. That's Pursuit then in 7th. Running on a set of ultra soft tyres. Again, he will have to stop again, running a 2-stop there. That's Yuzi in 8th, who has already stopped twice this race. Now he's on the super soft tyres. Will those tyres get him to the end of the race, I wonder? Alan Kay then in 9th place. he'll be wanting to make those tyres last to the end of the race. Remember, he started on a set of hyper soft tyres, was able to make those tyres last. A little bit of short shifting, maybe a bit of fuel saving going on. Meanwhile, that is Graham in 10th place then, done 7 laps on those ultra softs, and probably due a pit stop within the next 7 to 10 laps. Lap 14 then of the Mexican Grand Prix. Championship winner is your current race leader.
He's looking very comfortable as well, Kieran. Looking very, very comfortable. He's really made the one stop so far. Switched to the ultra soft. Siege in the Red Bull, 3.5 behind. He's obviously also pitted, so in fact he's in the action out on track. And we've got a bit of battle coming on now. Got Spike catching up on Sean. Spike's going to be on the ultra soft tyres as Sean's on the 2 laps on the super soft, so his tyres will be up to temperature now. Looks like he's going to be dragging along with him. Sorry, got that wrong. You've got Crazy Legs. He's going to be holding off the advantage of Spike. You've got Sean behind Spike as well, so you could have a freeway battle for 4th place. Depends how much performance the Ferrari's got left in those tyres. He has been on them for 13 laps as Spike tries to go on the outside, which gets Sean very much interested. He's trying to sniff up the inside there. He's trying to pick a place while he can. Looks like Crazy Legs no, and Spike has decided to pit, which is surprising. He's only been on those tyres for 1 lap, so I wonder if he might have had a bit of damage there.
Yeah, it is damage, front wing. So it will be changed now, and he'll go back onto a set of super soft tyres. Meanwhile then, that is Shaw then up to 4th place, and he now overtakes Crazy Legs. Crazy then, just in the 3rd sector then, really struggling with those rear tyres. They're not gripping as much as he wants them to, and he's just struggling a little bit out there. Of course, he is on now 14 lap old ultra soft tyres, and he's desperately trying to make this one stop work. And a window for the ultra softs really opened a couple of laps ago to get the super softs to the end. But well, the Ferrari is still out there in 5th place, and maybe he's just wanting to make those super softs last as long as possible. Maybe, you never know, maybe he's quite aggressive on the tyres and needs to make these tyres last so that the super softs actually get him to the end of the race. But he's very, very not in control of that car at all. I think the car's in control of Crazy at the moment, as Pursuit now finds his way past in towards turn 12. And I think Crazy here, I think it's time for those tyres to find themselves into the bin right now, because they're gone.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what he's doing then.
Yeah, get him in the bin or get him on eBay. Those Crazy Legs pitch from 6th place, and Nexus Pursuit, his choice to stay out an extra few laps has actually put him a few seconds behind Sean, and hopefully those two can get caught up to each other, because they had a fantastic battle pre-pit stop phase. Now just a quick look at the winners and losers, Kieran. We've obviously got Jack, who's moved up 3 places to lead the race. TTG Siege in the Red Bull still sitting in 2nd place. One man who's made the most advances through the grid is Maze. He is currently in 3rd place on the super soft tyres, running very well in the Renault. In 4th place we have Sean in the Hath, who's moved up 3 places, and also we have Uzi, who's also moved up 5 places from 11th to 6th. Unfortunately, the 2 losers so far this race have been TTG Spike, who's moved down 5 places, Crazy Legs, who's moved down 5. Unfortunately, our only and sole retiree, which is the same thing, is TTG Recon in the Williams.
Lap 17 of this Grand Prix then, as Jack makes his way down towards turn 1, looking to try and make this 2-stop strategy work then, as he makes his way through turn 3, and now on towards turn 4. 9-second gap he's got to Siege here, who's on 11 lap old ultra soft tyres again. Siege will be looking for the 2-stop here to try and get him to the end of the race. Remember, he started on a set of hyper soft tyres. Meanwhile then, Maze, who is on the set of super soft tyres, you know, we're expecting him out here until lap 20 at the moment, maybe even beyond that, is now under pressure from Sean, who's on 5 lap old super soft tyres. 11 laps is the age difference between these 2 tyres, as Sean here looking for a move. He's going to go for it down the inside at turn 4, and well, he's got the move done. I think Mays rather opened up the steering there to let Sean just go through there, but either way, Sean is now up to 3rd place. He wanted that position, he's got it now.
Yeah, absolutely. A move of experience there for Mays. There's no point battling with a car further that's behind you, that's going a lot quicker, making it difficult for him, and yourself are just going to be able to lose more time to the cars behind you. You are going to be battling, and obviously Mays is going to be looking to try and eke out the super softs for a few more laps before he switches on to the ultra soft tyres. So another fantastic move by Sean as he still stretches his legs. He's now 2.6 seconds ahead of Nexus Pursuit, who is on the ultra soft. So imagine that Pursuit will have to pit again. So definitely looking very strong at the moment for the half of Sean to pick up another podium, Q.
As it stands then, Spike is still in the hunt for second place at the moment, currently in 8th place, as he now looks to try and take position away from Alan Kay. Remember, the gap between himself and Ollie at the moment is 53 points, and with Ollie's wheel issues, he's not expected to turn up at the Brazilian Grand Prix, so Spike has to do this. He has to keep the pressure on and has to make these moves.
Sorry, Kieran. Graham has just smacked at the wall. He was going side by side with Crazy Legs, and we got from a retiree there, side by side through the baseball section. Unfortunately, Crazy Legs and Graham have to look at it again in the replay, but they were battling through the wooden spoon, and they both threw the oars out of the boat and decided to come together. And unfortunately, Graham 1980 comes off worse for worse.
So Graham then becomes our second retiree of the race then. And that means because he doesn't finish the race, he will not get that single point. So now the point scoring positions currently stand as they are. And there is Siege coming into the pits then. So that's going to be another super soft or ultra soft stint, is it? As the tyres go on, is it super softs going onto that Red Bull? It's super softs.
Super softs indeed. So two-stop strategy. Quite a bizarre move there, I must say, to go from the ultra soft, hyper soft to the super soft as Mays burst through on the super soft. So Mays definitely playing himself into contention at this phase of the race, Kieran. He's running very well on the super softs, and he'll be coming at the window to switch to the ultra softs very soon. As we see Siege rejoin in 5th place. TTG Sean fantastically running in 2nd place, 2.5 ahead of Pursuit, who's on the ultra soft. So you have to imagine that Pursuit will have to pit again. So Sean's looking very, very strongly, looking like he could be taking home a podium should he keep the car on the track for the next 17 laps.
Yeah, the last time you said something would happen, it did. You know, the rain here in qualifying. Oh, it's going to change up the track if it rains here, and yep, that's what happened. As Sean there actually picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think at some point, Tej, we've got to have a look at these penalties and see how much this race is going to be shaken up with those.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have maybe have a look last few laps and just try to enjoy the race for what it is at the moment. Looks like we could have a bit of a battle on our hands coming soon. There's Nexus Pursuit just takes another few attempts out of Sean there. Have a look now, as Spike is catching Uzi. The gap is now dropped down to 1.6, so that could be our next battle on track there. Spike looking to try and climb his way back through the grid. This is for position, so Uzi doesn't have to get out of the way. He can put up a fight, and I'm sure he will in the Toro Rosso, because he'll be wanting to take home as many points as he can with 3 rounds to go of this season as he comes off the racing line. So he's already trying to break the toe, knowing that the Mercedes is behind. Gaffed out at 1.3 now. There's at 1.1, so Spike not in the DRS as of yet. I think he is now. The gap comes down 8 attempts now. As we go through a tight right-hander to the hairpin as we get ready to go through the left-right section, which takes us up to the baseball ground. So Spike won't be wanting to stay behind the Toro Rosso, he'll be wanting to get through. As he does, gets through the S's. Uzi appears to lose the car somewhat. Spike goes straight through and says, "Thank you very much, I'll take that position," and onwards I go.
Well, I think Uzi just sort of didn't decide to battle him in the end and sort of gave that position up. Meanwhile then, we've got a battle between Siege and Mays then, as Mays here, I don't think he's going to put up too much of a fight against the Red Bull. 2-lap Super Softs on Siege versus 20-lap old Super Softs now on Mays' car. And yep, that is Siege through into 4th place. Now his next target will be Pursuit ahead of him, 5.4 the gap at the moment.
5.2, so we're looking to try and close that gap. I have to imagine that Pursuit's tyres come the end could be absolutely barking. You know, he's on the ultra softs. He's on 8 laps from so far, so I want us to imagine that he will be pitting again. And after looking out at Mays as well, as he potentially taking these super softs just over the cliff, I'd imagine he'd have to pit this lap if he wants to go into the ultra soft. So he's going to be pushing it and trying to take the hypersoft to the end. But it's been a good ran race, especially by both Renaults at the moment. One of the only 3 teams to have both drivers still in the race and still in the points, with Alan Kay running strongly in 8th place.
Well, lap 22 then, and it is Jack in the lead. We think he has to stop again though. Sean is in second. That's Uzi out of the race then. Uzi is out of the race. He's got it completely wrong. Out of turn 12, turn 11 then. He's into the wall and he is out of this race. And that is, well, 3 drivers now out of the session. And Uzi then becomes our 3rd retiree. That means then Crazy Legs is now up to 8th place. Everyone moves up a position. So Spike obviously has that 6th place already. That's going to move Alan Kay up to 7th. Crazy Legs up to 8th. Spike at the moment is scoring 8 points, which will take that lead, or that gap to the leader, down to, correct me if I'm wrong, 45 points. So that will pay dividends maybe, but it will still feel there's a big uphill battle. He'll want to get as many points as he possibly can. Mays is his next target, 9.5 seconds.
It seems to, the race has plateaued somewhat now, Kieran. Obviously we've only got the 13 laps to go, the 8 runners. It looks like just playing the waiting game at the moment. We're going to see what happens once the 2 stoppers and obviously the 1 stopping Mays, see what happens when they decide to pit. As Mays comes up to the baseball section now, see if he decides to pit on this lap. This could make the race somewhat more interesting as he does decide to pit, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in regards to Alan Kay and Crazy Legs, and see what kind of a charge the Renault driver can put on come the end of the race.
So what tyres does he decide to put on? Should be Ultra Softs, and it is Ultra Softs, and away he goes. And he'll be looking to take those tyres now to the end of the race. They should be able to do 14 laps, especially with a lighter fuel load. The Renault crew feel like their job is done. And they'll hope it's done for the day then, as Mays then rejoins. Where will he rejoin? There's Crazy Legs going through your picture then. So Mays then rejoins behind the Ferrari driver, but he's on ultra soft tyres now, fresh ultra softs, that he's looking to take to the end of the race.
Yeah, great pit work from the Renault guys. They've had a bit of a troubling season so far with regards to the pitting. And obviously the qualifying, which come to work as a treat today, as Mays jumps back out in 8th place, fresh tyres. You can see the cars in front of him. He'll be like a hungry person at a buffet trying to get those positions. You can see the positions, so he knows he's got the fresher tyres. He'll be thinking, let me at him, I want those points, and I want to leave Mexico with a nice bag full of points.
You can see how much more grip he has now, how much more confidence he has then going through the S section. On the way now down towards turn 12, and you can see Crazy in the distance. We can see him. We can put him in his scopes here and try and go for a move. And so he looks to try and close that gap then. Round now through turn 16, then through the double right-hander here, and then coming through turn 17. You can see now he'll have the slipstream, he'll have the DRS too, and ahead of Crazy Legs is Alan Kay. So Mays will be looking to get this job done in the slipstream, and now leaves as late as possible to switch up to 8th gear. And look at that then, side by side they go. Mays now heading down towards turn 1, got the inside line, has the better tyres. Mays then up to 7th place. Next target is his teammate, who will have DRS on because he was in the DRS zone of Crazy at the activation point, so he'll be able to try and close that gap. Meanwhile then, there's a battle going on for 3rd place, Pursuit and Siege at the moment. Pursuit on the ultra soft tyres, who may have to stop again, versus Siege here, who's on the super softs and does not have to stop again. As we make our way now around the final couple of corners. Now coming through turn 17, Pursuit here, holding the outside line to try and find better traction. But you can see there, Pursuit still trying to break that slipstream as we now head towards halfway down the straight now. And you can see there, Siege on the nose camera there has got the move done, moves back across to the racing line and takes that position away from the Force India. Easy as you like, really. Siege is now up onto a podium spot. Oh, it's
Next
Nexus has
recovery
lost
drive
it.
from Siege.
Nexus has lost it on the exit of turn 3. Back end, he lit up the rear tyres. And I think that is him retired from the session. You can see the frustration there in the Force India driver. Just a heavy right foot there. That's all it took. And looks like Pursuit here looking to reverse and try and find his way back around. And he will do now. But it's a long, long drive back towards the pit lane now. He'll be really, really frustrated with that one. But what that does is it gives Spike another position. Another position which he needs to try and help his championship battle. Now 10 points the gap now. Or at least the points he's going to score today. That will take it down to 43. So that's going to be a win and a second place. Yeah, through go the Renaults. And he has actually retired from the session altogether. So Nexus now retiring altogether from that. Maybe out of frustration there. You can feel his pain. Running as high as 3rd place. And then just lighting up the rear tyres. We've all been there. It'll be hugely frustrating for the Force India driver. But he is out of the Mexican Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's a shame that, Kieran, but I don't really understand why retire. You know, you can come to the pits, get a new set of tyres on and have a run at it. You're still going to get 8th place. You're still going to get some points. Or even put your car in AI, press pause and finish the last 10 laps. At least you're going to get some points. And you're showing not just yourself, the rest of the grid and the viewers that you got a bit of fighting spirit in there. You're going to come back and say this race doesn't define me. I'm not just going to retire from the session over a mistake, which is unfortunate, but it does happen. Obviously, the emotions get the better of the drivers on some occasions, but unfortunately for the Force India team, that's 3 valuable points gone missing. But the team from Enston, with the race leader, Mays, more than happy to inherit 5th place, running very, very strongly with Alan Kay in close company. Oh, yellow flag as well in sector 2. Oh, it's Alan Kay, he's ran wide, approaching the hairpin. Unfortunately, I believe he probably will keep going. 13 lap old super soft, so he could probably put another pair on and take 7th place. But it's unfortunate there, as both the Renaults are running in the top 6 at the time, and Crazy Legs in the Ferrari currently in the top 6. Fantastic return to form for the Ferrari team. It's will be valuable points for them, especially for a driver who will be looking to try and keep his place in that team next season.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, in that whole period there, pitted and put on a fresh set of hyper soft tyres. He's got to run on them for 10 laps as he makes his way now down towards turn 12. And it is lap 27 then. Sean is in 2nd place, but look who's going to try and keep him company. Siege there, 3rd place at the moment as we head now down towards turn 12. Spike there in 4th place. He's 14.9 behind Siege. And, you know, someone who's struggled this race will just be wanting to get those valuable points home. The gap to 2nd place Ollie will be 43 points with 50 points left to score. It will be a mountain to climb for Spike, but at least he'll still be in that hunt for 2nd place in the championship. And Sean now comes into the pits. So Sean in the Haas comes into the pits. What's he going to do then? Hypersoft tyres are the tyre of choice, and away he goes.
Yeah.
So there goes Spike then, who will inherit 3rd place as Sean is in the pit lane. And I wonder what the thinking behind that is, because Sean looked comfortable there in 2nd place. Might have lost it, but he's decided, no, I want to fight this on my own terms. He's now got to find a way past Spike. 4.3 the gap is. And of course down this straight it's going to be relative. So it's going to always keep it creasing because he's off the pace. But now Sean now back on it. Through the sort of triple chicane, if you like to call it. 4.2 now, the gap between himself and Spike as he rejoins down towards turn 4. On those hypersoft tyres, okay, they're a fast tyre for 2 or 3 laps. But once they're past the sell-by date, he's going to find it tricky.
Potentially a clever move from Sean there, Kieran. He's obviously on the longer ran super softs, and he obviously knew Spike was catching him. He thought, I'll take the advantage myself, I'll go onto the faster tyre and I'll try and track you down, as the gap is already down to 3.5 seconds. So Sean showing good game sense and good track knowledge to come in, get a fresh set of tyres on, and he's already took 1.3 seconds out of that lead, down to 3.1, so He's took the waiting game out of Spike's hands, put it in his own hands, and decided to take the fight to Spike, which is now the gap down to 2.7. He could also be going for the A logo fastest lap for the race. Now he has the set of Hypersofts on, same as Jack. So both drivers will be looking for that as well. The gap now down to 2.6. So obviously the right thing to do there, Kieran.
Well, if he can get past Spike, it will definitely cement third place rather than battling with Siege and risk losing the car altogether. But I think there, I don't know, I'm going to question that decision by Sean, but he's now coming onto the back of Spike here and looking now to try and find a way past. Of course, it's always going to be tricky, but with those DRS zones down towards turn 1 and then down towards turn 4, it's always a good opportunity there. Jack then a logo fast lap at the moment, 1:14.9. So first person into the 1:14s. I wonder if Sean can try and find that. Spike actually running wide on the exit of turn 11 then, and this is what I was talking about. On the formation lap, leaving yourself vulnerable there in towards turn 12, you could see how much speed Spike actually lost there. And now look who's right on his tail. Sean looking to try and just get that position back as Spike, bit of opposite lock, and actually comes into the pits then. So he's now looking to try and go for the A logo fastest lap of the race award. 1:16.1 then from Sean, and now he's got the DRS, and of course he will have that DRS now down towards turn 4 because he was behind Spike. He was in that second range, and it was that at the detection point, so he's going to have that DRS now down towards turn 4, so that's going to help him even more.
Yeah, I can see why he did it, and I can also see your opinion of why not to, because he could still be trying to challenge Siege, but he's definitely cemented a potential podium now, which is very important, especially for his Haas team and also for his own record, because like we touched on during this race, Kieran, he has had a fantastic season, and you have to imagine the eyes of the bigger teams will be on him. He'll definitely be one of the cherries you want to pick off the tree and place in your team. That's a bit of a weird way of describing it, but yeah, he's definitely a talented driver, and definitely a driver the bigger teams will be looking towards. But that has also thrown Mays into the lofty heights of 4th place. So he's running very well in the Renault. An absolutely fantastic race, I'd have to say, so far. Regardless of what he's had to put up with and the reduced grid size, I think he's had a fantastic race, and I'm definitely going to have to put him in there for a potential driver of the day. You'd also have to commend the efforts of TTG Alan Kay. We know that he had a bit of a troubled start as well. A few races haven't gone his way recently, but he's came back at a good points finish.
Oh, it's
Yellow
crazy.
flag sector 3.
Crazy that is, at turn 15. Lost the car there. I wonder if that front wing has a bit of damage. Sorry to just cut you off there. Let's see if Crazy, no, he will continue on. But Alan Kay now is right behind him.
Yeah, nothing's at the wing damage, so the Ferrari garage keeping the man out.
Well, I was just going to say, Spike here is rapidly closing in on Mays. 1.4 now is the gap. That's to be expected with those Hypersoft tyres. 5 laps to go here in Mexico. Jack is leading the way. And how many times have we said that this season? Well, not a lot, because it was actually squeezy before the PSN change. But there you go. Spike then right on the tail of Mays then, as we head now through turn 11. We run wide. No, he keeps it between the white line, but he now switches back then down towards turn 12 we go. Mays has the inside line. But look at that, just backs out of it. And I was going to say, how far back in the history book would you have to go to see when the last time Mays scored a podium? Well, Spike now centuries. Up into 4th, back up to 4th place. Rather puts a dent in Mays' ambitions there to try and score an unlikely podium. And Crazy Legs getting a 3-second time penalty as well. That will be added to the end of his race. And well, Mays has put in a stellar performance today, like you said, Tej. Starting on those super soft tyres, making this one-stop work so far. He's got 5 laps left to run here in 5th place. Healthy gaps to the car behind, and now the car ahead. So looks like he'll just be settling down and looking to grab those vital points here for Renault.
Absolutely, it's been a Sunday drive for him, running in the lofty heights of 4th place, asking for the inhaler on the team radio, struggling to breathe. He's running so high. Yeah, fantastic run from the Renaults. Both Renaults running very strongly in the points, regardless of your retirements. 5th and 7th place. Alan Kay with another 7th place finish on the cards after last Thursday. Crazy Legs and the Ferrari running very well in 6th. He's obviously been caught as well by Jack, who's put a lap on Alan Kay now, which will help Alan Kay as he tries to make the Super Softs last till the end. A bit of weaving there from Crazy Legs. Hopefully it won't put off the race leader. We're going to tick him off as he's flying through the left-right section now. TTG Siege, he's just coming through the first DRS zone. Just got the gap. It's 20 seconds to Spike as well, so no real close battles on track at the moment, Kieran, as we're just going to be seeing these last few laps through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 3 laps to go though, as Jack leads the way then, heading down towards turn 1. Siege is in second place, 27.3 the gap is, and it's ever increasing because, of course, Jack is on those Hypersoft tyres. Sean then in third, running a good race so far, 9.5 seconds, but he might start to feel the worst end of those Hypersoft tyres very, very shortly. Spike running in 4th place, 18.8 behind Sean. Maze in 5th place. You can see how much Spike has opened up that gap already. The gap is 5.7 seconds. Crazy running in 6th place at the moment, looking to try and get his 2nd finish of the season. It has been a tough season for Crazy, but a result like this would really do him the world of good, especially now. He's a lap down, and maybe he could start to push now. He could start to use a bit more of that fuel there. Now he can run -1 to Delta. And really ignore his engineer. They'll be saying, save fuel, you have to save fuel, you're running a lap down on fuel. Well, I'll tell you what, Jack's just lapped me, so that's fine. You have to do all that maths in your head.
Mr. Pit Engineer. So Crazy Legs gets another 3-second time penalty. So looks like Alan Kay could be inheriting 6th place from Crazy Legs. I think he might have had a lap's worth of penalties. So I'm pretty sure Jack doesn't have to worry about penalties. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have 30 seconds worth, as he's put on another clinic. The soon to be crowned world champion. He obviously wrapped up this championship at the moment. Constructors also wrapped up. Spike in the system Mercedes running strongly in 4th. Good recovery drive from him after an earlier incident with Recon on lap 4, which unfortunately saw the Williams retire later on in the race. You see, you've got another strong performance there in 5th place as well. Maze, the lead Renault. Sean running very well in 3rd, wrapping up the podium standings at the moment, backing up what we said earlier on, Kieran. What a strong season he has definitely had, and potentially one to watch in the future, as Jack does get a 30-second time penalty, a 3-second time penalty, not a 30-second time penalty.
30-second time penalty would definitely take him back into contention, that's for sure. But Jack then making his way around the final 2 corners. He's on the penultimate lap right now, making his way now towards the start-finish line now. The final lap of the Mexican Grand Prix has begun, and Jack here in the lead, just having a bit of fun. He's used every single compound today, the Ultra Softs, the Hyper Softs, and the Super Softs, so he's done himself proud today. 12 laps though on the Super Softs. It was a really short stint, especially for those tyres, but you know, that's all he felt he needed on them. As he makes his way in towards turn 3 now, down the straight towards turn 4. You can see now he wants to get yet another win on the board then, as he heads his way down towards turn 4. Half a minute the gap is at the moment as we head towards turn 5. On the run now towards turn 6. And well, it has been a very, very strong season. You can see there he's just putting out the tail there out of turn 6. And just really enjoying this final lap here of the Mexican Grand Prix. Everything's really fallen into his place here, but he still had the pace to keep on it and keep that gap well over half a minute now, as he now heads down towards turn 12 and then in towards the hairpin of turn 13. As Alan Kay then picks up another 3-second time penalty. You can see the confetti going up. The party has started as Jack makes his way around turn 16 and then through turn 17 here. The checkered flag starts waving, and Jack here is actually he's just gonna have a little bit of fun. Look, now just doing a donut or two, We've seen this before as he makes his way. Yep, he's doing a couple of donuts in the pit lane, and now he'll be making his way towards the start-finish line. Jack then wins the Mexican Grand Prix, and it was a bit of an anticlimax because I wasn't expecting him to do that, but there we go. Jack then wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Siege then coming around the final 2 corners. Professional drive from Siege, points for Red Bull, and he'll finish in 2nd place then. And no, he takes the win! Oh, Jack's donuts have cost him a race win, and Siege takes his first race win of the season. Or does he? I'm not sure about those standings now.
Yeah, what is going on? The irony of doing donuts and you actually turn out to be a donut.
I have no idea.
Surprised by that.
Well, Sean's taken 3rd place at the moment. He'll take that with a great deal of pride there with his 3rd podium of the season. Spike then finishing in 4th. There's Maze then coming around the final 2 corners. And he's going to claim 5th place here. Really good drive from Maze in the Renault. Picks up some very, very valuable points. And Crazy, will he make it to the checkered flag? He was probably worried there when Jack pulled off to the side to do some donuts about the fuel. But I don't think he was any worries at all. Crazy will take only his 2nd finish of the season, and it's going to be 6th place. A great race then for Crazy. And then Alan Kay will come around the final corner to take the last finishing position in 7th place. But your race winner today is Jack. Amongst all the confusion, it's another race win for the champion.
Yeah. An entertaining last corner.
Well, absolutely, and there is another win on the board, another trophy to the cabinet. Jack then wins here in Mexico. Well, I would be very, very curious to see what the gap actually is between himself and Siege. Because, well, the gap there must have come down to around 10, maybe 15 seconds. And if the penalties fell his way then, let's have a look then. That's 9 seconds worth of penalties. And Siege finished 8.3 behind in the end. Well, I don't know. I think the stewards might be having a look
sure
at
that.
I'm not sure about it either.
Because I'm pretty sure when he was messing around, I think he probably did about 25 seconds.
Yeah, about
that. A lot more than... Yeah, so...
Well... In any case then, for now then, this is why they're the official, unofficial results. It is Jack then on the top step of the podium. It's Siege in 2nd, Sean in 3rd, picking up his 3rd podium of the season. Spike in 4th, scoring 12 points then. That gap comes down to 41 points between himself and Ollie in the 2nd place race, as Maze rounding up the top 5 then with a really, really good drive from the Renault driver. And that's it for the Mexican Grand Prix. We shall see if anybody stays for commentator's corner with 11 starters and 7 finishes. I don't know. What's the chances, do you reckon? We might get Spike and Alan. You never know.
Well, there's only 11 drivers. Probably be commentator's bus stop. I don't think there'll be that many people turning up.
Well, we shall see. Well, that is it for the Mexican Grand Prix, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel and make sure you follow the league on Twitter as well, at TTL_F1. You can follow me there if you like as well. It's at KSMCGF1, and you can follow Tej there too.
Yes, at TEJUARR_86, which is myself. So follow, and I'll follow back, and yeah.
All that jazz. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Commentator's Corner. Don't go away.
Thank you.